The race was postponed yesterday. We are running at Sao Paulo, Brazil today in the Indy 300 on board with Vitor Meira. Vitor, one of those drivers involved in the incident, and
Viso and Andretti still battling.
Second position being fought for, but they remain in the same order. Viso second and Andretti third. Now,
here it comes.
Yep. Nope.
Yeah, you see that starting to dry out in the groove, which is going to make it, there's still plenty of water to keep the tires cool.
We go down to Kevin Lee, who is standing by with Michael Andretti.
Michael Andretti is calling Marco's race. How close are you on fuel? He's got to talk to Marco for just a second, so we'll hang with him, and he wants to talk to a pit tech right now. So I'm going to let him do his business, and then we'll try to find out whether they can make it or not. One other note on Graham Rahal, who runs in fifth. Not too long ago, it looked like Graham was going to be in trouble. He has pitted 3 times. He came in, then he had to serve a penalty because he came in when the pits are closed. Then he came in again and topped off. He has been told he can use his push to pass, so he might be in position to win this race if the others that did not pit can't make it all the way.
And Will Power just passed Graham Rahal on the track, so Power is up to 5th. Let us point out that the first 4, Sato, Viso, Andretti, and Saavedra, more than likely are going to need a pit stop. And more on that from Kevin.
Okay, Michael, what are you checking with the pit tech about?
Well, Viso was blocking, and so we just wanted to let him know. I guess they warned him. So.
How close are you on fuel? What do you need to make it the rest of the way without stopping?
We need some yellows. We need the track to either dry out and we go to dries, or we need some yellows.
Okay, pit tech coming back over to confer with Michael Andretti.
And they continue to battle for position.
And of course, anytime as a team owner you see the car that you're trying to pass on the inside half, and in fact, Michael, seems like the team has prevailed. We've just heard from race control. They're going to black flag Viso.
Wow. That's...
wow.
That's a wow, yeah. What a drive from 26 to 2nd, and they black flag him.
That's where you wish they'd just make him move over and just give up the position.
You know? And that's twice. That's twice that he's been dinged today. He got dinged and had to give that position back earlier by shortcutting the same place, almost in the same fashion we saw 2 other cars. Again, were those 2 other cars forced there? This one here, I guess if they've determined he went to the inside half of the racetrack, which they define very clearly in the drivers' meetings here in Sao Paulo, as they do every race, if you move to the inside half of the racetrack with someone behind you on a braking zone, we're going to penalize you.
Well, we were saying that Sato, Viso, Andretti, and Saavedra will more than likely need a pit stop before this race ends in 20 minutes, and that would mean that Will Power, who's running in 5th, would get the advantage. Kevin?
And we heard Michael Andretti say that he's not happy with EJ Viso. Feels like he's been blocking. Viso has been told you can't change lanes or you're going to be penalized.
Well, Kevin, maybe you have better information than we do. We were told that they're going to black flag. So if it's a warning, that's fantastic news for EJ Viso.
There's the black flag right there.
Well, okay, so we had the more current. Sorry, Kevin.
Okay, we told you that Will Power had passed Graham Rahal for position. Here's how it occurred.
Into turn 1.
That put Power up into 5th position.
I see, because they're saying that he's on the inside half of the racetrack and he's making Marco go around the outside. And from what we understand, that was not just that 1 lap, Kevin.
And Viso just rolled through pit lane, so he has now served the penalty. He's been told you've blocked 7 times, so he's been penalized. He did not come in immediately because they're having some radio issues and they couldn't get the message to him. But now the penalty is served, so Viso was in position to possibly win this race or certainly get a top 5. Now he goes to the back of the line, or at least close to it. I'm not sure how he'll cycle through because remember, this is a different type of pit lane scenario. You don't lose as many spots rolling through pit lane as you do at most other race courses.
And Kevin, I will say there's one other bit of information that you got. Simona De Silvestro, we've talked about being laps down now. Go ahead and get by Marco. He's got, if she's fast and she wants to be racy, Marco left the open passing lane, which is what the complaint was Viso did not do. I was going to say that Michael Andretti gave us one other bit of very important information as Marco tries to come back, is that if the track dries, everyone's going to have to come on pit road and take tires. And so therefore, if you're the gambling strategy and everyone has to come in, you can take fuel and you've been saved.
I just don't think this track is going to dry out enough to put slicks on. I mean, there are parts of the racetrack right now that look really good, but there's also some parts, there's a lot of water on the track. So that's a tough call.
Little over 17 minutes to go in the Sao Paulo Indy 300. It's Sato, Andretti, Saavedra, Power, and Rahal. Back in a moment. Tony Kanaan makes a pit stop as Takuma Sato continues to lead. He has about a 6-second advantage over Marco Andretti. We have, however, seen that the Andretti team, the Andretti crew is laid out, indicating that he will be making a pit stop very soon. Now, Will Power has moved up another position on the racetrack. That's Sebastian Saavedra, a rookie in the series, up from the Firestone Indy Lights. He passes him for the 3rd position. So Will Power is now 3rd. Saavedra is 4th. And by the way, E.J. Viso, who was penalized, came out in 9th position. There you see the interval between 1st and 2nd. The green and white car of Simona De Silvestro is not on the lead lap. Here's the 2nd place car of Marco Andretti.
And he should hit pit lane because pit lane entrance is in another turn and a half. And we saw just in the background when we came back from break that his team was laying out.
I like you said, we didn't see the tires. I would think they're going to go with brains.
There he goes.
I just don't think this place is dry enough yet to put the slicks on.
All right, Kevin, we'll throw it to you. He's got a long way to go at 50 miles an hour, but here he comes.
Andretti hits his marks. They are Thinking about change? Yeah, they're going to the alternate, softer, quicker tires. These are the slicks. The track is drying, but pit lane is still very wet, so they got the top off of fuel that they needed. He wiggles a little bit as he comes off pit lane, and he's got a long way to go. He was pit in. This is the longest pit lane that we're going to see. He's got 50 miles an hour that he can go all the way through. Marco Andretti finishes his Sunoco fuel stop, and we'll see if he can get a break and get back in the chase.
Well, if he had his hands full before, they're really going to be
Oh, yeah, no
because,
kidding.
you know, with these slicks, you can see there's some dry there. That's fine. You better stay on the dry. If you get a wheel off the dry with those slicks, you're going to completely lose grip.
Now, Simona De Silvestro in second position there in the screen is actually trying to get by Sato to get a lap back. Now, it puts you, 8 laps down instead of 9,
right.
but, you're going the right direction. So
She'll still be in 20th position, but at least it's a lap back.
Yeah. And you'll notice
It's
these
also
two
making a
cars.
statement too.
Sure.
I passed the leader of the race.
You'll notice that these two cars are looking for water.
Right.
You'll see they're looking for the places that are wet to try and keep the wet tires cool. And so when you see people moving around, they have to be careful because you're looking for water, but you don't want the officials to think that you're trying to block.
But the difference between wets, you can run wets on water and a little bit of dryness. With the slicks, you can't run them on the wet at all.
Oh, saw someone else peel off onto pit road. Here comes Power, then Rahal.
Yeah, Rahal has picked up a spot. He passed Sebastian Saavedra. And by the way, Andretti has come out in 15th position. It's still Takuma Sato leading this race, the Sao Paulo Indy 300. Sato has to make a pit stop for fuel, relinquishing the lead that he has held for many laps, and that's going to give the lead back to Will Power. Kevin has more down on pit lane.
Fuel only for Takuma Sato. They did not change tires, so they stayed on the rain tires. His teammate EJ Viso coming in now for a topper. Sato was in for about 5.5 seconds. The tap on the fueler, and Viso is in for 5.5 seconds and back out.
The interval between Power and Rahal is only about 2.3 seconds, but the question is, does he have enough time to make up the distance there? With Will Power showing the way once again. Power on the overtake, trying to lengthen that advantage. Graham Rahal has 10 pushes left on the Honda overtake assist. There's Marco, who is in 15th position on the slicks.
He's struggling right there on the slick. I don't think that was the right move to make. It's just not dry enough to,
You can see
to have those slicks on.
Yeah. So watch Marco here. Yeah, he's having.
That's tough.
And again, you throw the dice on that, and the driver, you gotta make the call because you're seeing the racetrack. But I think that was a tough call to make because there are some parts of the track that are really drying out. You think you could make up enough time on the dry part, but the problem is when you get on the wet part, you lose so much time with slicks.
But you have to think he probably made the call, right?
I would, definitely. The driver's got to make the ultimate call on that one.
Yeah.
You're the one seeing the racetrack and feeling the car.
Again, Takuma Sato, who was leading the race, had to make a pit stop, relinquishing the lead to Will Power.
But Graham Rahal, what a great move when he got himself in trouble. Remember, he spun and then went ahead as long as he didn't have track position to come in and filled up early, just topped off early. So that strategy, you know, that's very similar to what happened to Mike Conway. Ran into trouble in Long Beach, came back and won it. Nice job.
Boy, it looks like these tires are becoming slicks.
Yes, good.
He's been on them for a long time.
On one of the shots, I was like, hey, he didn't change tires, did he? I'm like, no.
You know what, though, fellas? This is why racing's such a cruel sport. Because look how good Marco ran, and Viso and Sato, and they're not going to be rewarded.
Yep, that's right.
Well, Sato's still listed as 6th.
Yeah, but
I mean, you know.
yeah. But I mean, he made a great outside pass for the lead. And, you know, Marco's driven his best race of the year. He's going to end up way back.
Their finishing positions is not going to indicate how well they ran and how well they did. First and second right here. Here's Graham Rahal in the red, white, and blue car. There is Ryan Briscoe in the Penske yellow running in 3rd spot. Franchitti is right behind him with different colors this week. Kellogg's on the side pod and T-Mobile on the yellow rear wing.
Guy was in the tires a little while ago.
Let me tell you something, Wally. Will's going to get out of the car and he's going to be slapping his hands together. Yeah, well, I gained some points that time. What do you mean he finished 4th? 4th?
I saw him in the tires.
If they continue to run in this order, the points lead will change once again with Power back in the advantage by 14 over Franchitti.
This, of course, being still for position. Servia in blue, Sato in the Lotus colors.
This is for 5th.
Conway, that's for position as well. Conway in 7th.
Well, Power, meanwhile, has lengthened his advantage to over 4 seconds over Graham as we watch this battle for 5th and 6th.
Now, you want to keep an eye on the clock at the top of the screen as well, because there may only be around 3 laps to complete that 6 minute and change left. So there's not much, you know, it says lap 51, but when that clock expires, that's it. So only a few laps to go.
Justin Wilson has had a myriad of problems yesterday and today, and he finds himself up in the top 10, running in 8th positions. James Hinchcliffe, tip of the Stetson to him. He's in 9th, and J.R. Hildebrand, another rookie, is 10th. Then we have Saavedra and Jakes, 2 more rookies that are 11th and 12th.
And you really got, this is the point where you'll see who's managed their rain tires the best at this point, because when you run the rain tires on the dry part of the racetrack, it eats them up. Oh,
Sato. Well,
but what I was saying, you've got to find those wet spots and keep those tires cool, because when you get on the straightaway or these dry corners, it just chews the reins up. So although everybody's on reins, they're probably on different kinds of reins, just depending on how you manage them, how you kept them cool.
Sato looks like he's lost 4 spots by going through that painted area. Hinchcliffe, of course, smelling a loss of momentum, thinking, here comes another spot for me.
Good race, though, for the Canadian rookie, James Hinchcliffe, driving for Newman Haas Racing. I mentioned Stetson a while ago. Robin, is it going to be cool or what to have a double header at Texas Motor Speedway?
Well, I think that's, you know, you and I remember the 70s at Michigan and Trenton, and those were some of the best races in the world because they were sprint races, Bobby. And that's what, you know, one pit stop and everybody ran as hard as they could.
Yep, it's going to be great. Well, Takuma Sato led 23 laps before he gave up the lead. Will has led for 29 laps now as the clock is counting down and the number of laps to go grows very few.
Man, Power's picking him up and laying him down. He's almost 6 seconds ahead now.
Yeah.
Yep.
hats off to the team. They had to come onto pit road when a lot of people ahead of him did not, but they made the right call. You know, so much of Will Power's strategy obviously has been to stay out of trouble. And he has stayed out of trouble the entire weekend. I mean, he hasn't brought it home yet. But he's got to now make the transition to ovals. That's what tripped him up last year. And he was certainly not short on speed last year at Indianapolis, that's for sure. It was the pits that was his undoing.
Down to Kevin once again on pit lane.
Bob, as you know, pit lane is in a location where you really don't see the racetrack. I've made my way towards victory lane, so now I can see the racetrack for the first time today. I'm standing in turn 3. I can see turns 1, 2, and 3. Just saw Marco Andretti come by, and I have no idea how he's making it. Alex Tagliani was right on his rear wing. Andretti just tiptoeing by. The track is nowhere close to dry. There's still small puddles, standing water here in turns 1, 2, and 3, so that's pretty impressive that Andretti has been able to keep it between the lines as we watch Will Power come through turn number 3 right now.
Well, he lost 30 seconds in about the last 5 laps, Marco Andretti has, by putting those slicks on. I think he came out of the pits about between 30 and 35 seconds behind the leader, and now he's 63 seconds. So
yeah, he's
definitely not the right call to put those slicks on.
Last car on the lead lap in 15th position. This is Oriol Servia that we're watching in 5th position. The blue Telemundo sponsored car from Newman Haas Racing. Right behind him is Mike Conway, the winner at Long Beach.
The time remaining now is less than it takes you to complete a lap.
Yeah.
So we know we are definitely in the closing stages right now because they're running 1 minute 41 second laps, 1 minute 40 for Graham Rahal.
I looked for the white flag last time by for Will Power, did not see it. Look at this. The fastest lap of the race was turned by Simona Di Silvestro. How about that? Down in the 139 bracket.
Nice job.
Yeah.
And passed the leader in the process.
Yep. See the contrails coming off the rear wings, indicating the atmosphere is heavy with moisture. And this time, Will Power will get the white flag, indicating 1 more lap to go.
And they timed it out properly because the time has not expired, so you couldn't go checkered here. Now is the time to go white.
Paul Blevin waves the white flag, indicating 1 to go. Here comes Graham Rahal in 2nd position. The interval now is just about 4.3 seconds. Ryan Briscoe running back in 3rd. Good day for Graham Rahal.
And we certainly, spoke to him yesterday that he wanted to stay with a dry style setup, and if he survived this whole day with a car that didn't have much of a wet setup and brings it home 2nd, hats off to Graham Rahal. That's a good bit of driving. He had a spin, but they didn't.
So did everybody else.
Yeah, well, of course, Power has stayed clean. He's one of the few.
But you said early on, Jan, if things break right, he could do this whole race and not stop, and he didn't after those 3 under the yellow.
Yeah, topped up early, didn't need to.
The time has expired, and now all Will has to do is bring it through the last few corners. He's approaching corner number 10 that will lead to the backstretch. Looking down a long straightaway. It's longer than the straightaways at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Reaching almost 180 miles an hour under dry conditions. We started things yesterday here at Sao Paulo, Brazil, with Will on the pole, and we had to postpone the race until today. He's in the victory hairpin, off of it right now. And when it comes to racing on the street and road courses, you simply cannot beat Power. Will Power wins here at the Itaipava Sao Paulo Indy 300. 2nd position, there's Graham Rahal. 3rd is going to be Ryan Briscoe. And 4th, Dario Franchitti. The race is finally over, and there still are some raindrops on our camera lens, indicating that this was indeed a very frustrating weekend for some of the drivers. It's always disappointing when a race is postponed from one day to the next, but this was a really, really good event here this afternoon, or this morning, I should say. It's Will Power's 11th career win and his second win of the young season, and his second consecutive win on the streets of Sao Paulo, Brazil. The race has been run, and Will Power emerges as the victor. Graham Rahal pulling up behind Will. He finishes in second spot with Ryan Briscoe, the third member of the podium.
Will Power talked before the race that he was hoping for rain. He had 2 days of rain to negotiate, and obviously did it without any mistakes.
Whenever you're ready, just show me the order. Come down, Will. Right here, Will. Go ahead and do your job.
9 guys coming.
Sigh of relief. And Power emerges from the race car, and Kevin Lee is there to talk with him in victory lane.
Will Power stands on top of his number 12 Verizon Wireless Penske car, celebrates with the fans here in Sao Paulo. He started from the point in every race. Now it pays off. And the Power leap. Well, you've been wanting some good luck. You've been wanting to just not get hit, and you did it today, and that's a pretty big accomplishment today.
Yeah, I mean, that was an awesome race. You know, so many different track conditions, and we went back in the pack there on that stop in the middle, and just happy for Verizon, Maya, Shell, Honda.
Good job.
There's Ryan Briscoe.
Same, brother, same. Yeah, it's just a great job. Really happy to get the Verizon car in victory lane again. Been on pole 4 times. We've had 2 wins, so it's a great start.
Well, yesterday you were out front, so you didn't have to deal with the spray. Today, because of your early pit stop to come in, you had to trail some other cars. What was that like when you finally had to deal with that?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. You know, I slowly started picking people off. The spray wasn't as bad as yesterday. I mean, it was, you can see that it's sort of dried up a little, but yeah, it was a matter of keeping calm, getting past people without any mistakes, and then pulling a gap to be safe.
You guys came in early. What was the thinking from a strategy standpoint? Did you ever think about trying to go the distance like a few did, or did you want to get in and play it on the safe side?
No, I think the conservative thing was to come in. We'd known that Dario had taken ties, so he was going to go to the front. So we thought we have to play off him since he's leading the championship. So it was a good strategy by the boys. My boys are doing such a good job in the pits. They're all pumped to win the championship this year, and we just got to keep plotting away here and see if we can gather more and more points every weekend.
4 races, 2 wins. As we mentioned, you've been the quickest in qualifying in all 4 events. How hooked up is the 12 team right now?
12 teams really hooked up. I mean, it's just, it's the second year together, so we're just more relaxed about it, enjoying it, and just going a weekend at a time, not really thinking of the whole picture here. We just plot away, get points, and see what happens at the end.
13 points is your advantage now in the championship on Dario Franchitti. Now you head to Indianapolis. Now you head to the oval stretch. 14, actually, is the points lead, I'm now told. You were really pretty competitive on the ovals, just did not get results, and you were better than the results showed last year at Indianapolis. What do you expect this year at Indy?
Yeah, I think that, like I said before, we're all more relaxed on the 12 cars, no question. And, in the last 2 years, we've been in a position to challenge for the win at Indy, so I think we're going to be really fast, going to be fine, and really looking forward to the ovals. I really am. I've been thinking about it a lot, and I can't wait to get on them.
That 9-hour flight back home is going to go a lot better for you now, correct?
Yes, I love it.
Well, 9-hour flight's nothing for somebody from Australia. That's just simply like a commuter flight. Will Power wins here in Brazil.
All right, Kevin, thank you. We still got a lot more interviews to do and a lot more things to do as we continue to celebrate breakfast in Brazil as Will Power wins the Sao Paulo Indy 300.